Super Smash Bros. Melee DX, Hepburn, Dairantō Sumasshu Burazāzu Derakkusu, Great Melee Smash Bros. DX, with DX, pronounced as deluxe, ~meɪleɪ, is a crossover fighting game released for the Nintendo GameCube, released in Japan in November 2001, with other territories later. It is the second game in the Super Smash Bros. Series, following the first game. HAL Laboratory developed the game, with Masahiro Sakurai as head of production. The game features characters from Nintendo video game franchises such as Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Star Fox and Pokémon. Melee includes all playable characters from the first game in the series on the Nintendo 64, but it also adds new characters from franchises such as Fire Emblem, of which no games had been released outside Japan at the time. The stages and gameplay modes make references to, or take their designs from, popular games released by Nintendo. Melee's gameplay system offers an unorthodox approach to the fighting game genre, with a counter that measures damage with percentages, rather than the health bar seen in most fighting games. It builds on the first game by adding new gameplay features and playable characters. Following the popularity of its multiplayer gameplay, Melee has been featured in many competitive gaming tournaments and is still one of the most popular Smash titles for competitive play. The game received critical praise, as well as awards and acknowledgements from gaming publications. It achieved strong sales upon release, and is the GameCube's best-selling game, with more than 7 million copies sold as of March 10, 2008. Gameplay. Like its predecessor, Super Smash Bros. Melee differs from traditional fighting games as the objective is to force their opponents beyond the boundaries of the stage. Most attacks inflict damage and can, if enough damage is dealt, knock back the enemy. Each character's health is measured by a meter that represents the damage received as a percentage. The higher the percentage value, the farther the player gets knocked back, and the easier they are to knock off the stage. Unlike other games of the same genre, in which moves are entered by button input combinations, most moves in Super Smash Bros. Melee can be accessed via one-button presses and a joystick direction. During battles, items related to Nintendo games or merchandise fall onto the game field. These items have purposes ranging from inflicting damage on the opponent to restoring health to the player. Additionally, most stages have a theme relating to a Nintendo franchise or a specific Nintendo game and are interactive to the player. Although the stages are rendered in 3 dimensions, players can only move on a 2-dimensional plane. Not all stages are available immediately. Some stages must be unlocked by achieving particular requirements. Some stages feature moving elements and platforms and hazards that harm players, while others lack these elements. Single-player mode provides the player with a variety of side-scrolling fighting challenges. The applicable modes range from the classic mode, which involves the player battling against opponents in multiple acts until he or she reaches the boss character, to the home run contest, which is a mini-game involving the player trying to launch a sandbag as far as possible with a home run bat. Some of these modes are personalized for the character. For example, the target test sets out a specialized area for a character in which they aim to destroy 10 targets in the least amount of time they can. These areas may include references to that particular character's past and legacy. The platforms minigame from the prequel was not included in Melee. Melee introduced Adventure Mode, which takes the player to several predefined universes of characters in the Nintendo franchise. All-Star Mode is an unlockable feature of Melee, requiring the player to defeat every character in the game while having only 3 health supplements between battles. Multiplayer. In the multiplayer mode, up to 4 players or computer-controlled characters may fight, either in a free-for-all or in teams. The Central Processing Unit character's artificial intelligence difficulty is ranked from 1 to 9 in ascending order of difficulty. Individual players can also be handicapped. The higher the handicap, the stronger the player. There are 5 ways in which the victor can be determined, depending on the game type. The most common multiplayer modes are Time Mode, where the player or team with the most costs and least falls wins after a predetermined amount of time, and Stock Mode, a battle in which the last player or team with lives remaining wins. This can be changed to less conventional modes like Coin Mode, which rewards the richest player as the victor. Players must collect coins created by hitting enemies and try not to lose them by falling off the stage. Harder hits release higher quantities of coins. Other options are available, updating from Super Smash Bros., such as determining the number and type of items that appear during the battle. Trophies. Trophies are various Nintendo characters and objects can be collected throughout the game. These trophies include action figures of playable characters, accessories, and items associated with them, as well as series and characters not otherwise playable in the game. The trophies range from the well-known to the obscure, and even characters or elements that were only released in Japan. Some of the trophies include a description of the particular subject and detail the year and the game in which the subject first appeared. Super Smash Bros. Had a similar system of plush dolls, however, it only included the 12 playable characters. One trophy is exclusive to the Japanese version of the game. Playable characters. Super Smash Bros. Melee features 25 characters, 13 more than its predecessor. 14 are available initially, while the other characters require the completion of specific tasks to become available. Every character featured in the game is derived from a popular Nintendo franchise. All characters have a symbol that appears behind their damage meter during a fight. This symbol represents what series they belong to, such as a Triforce symbol behind Link's damage meter and a Pokeball behind Pokémon species. Some characters represent popular franchises while others were less known at the time of the release. Marth and Roy represent the Fire Emblem series, which had never been released outside Japan at the time. The character's appearance in Super Smash Bros. Melee led to a rise in the popularity of the series. References are made throughout the game to the relationship between characters of the same universe. In one of the events from Event Mode, Mario must defeat his enemy Bowser to rescue Princess Peach. Furthermore, each character has recognizable moves from their original series, such as Samus's firearms from the Metroid series and Link's arsenal of weapons. Development and release. HAL Laboratory developed Super Smash Bros. Melee, with Masahiro Sakurai as the head of production. The game was one of the first games released on the Nintendo GameCube and highlighted the advancement in graphics from the Nintendo 64. The developers wanted to pay homage to the debut of the GameCube by making an opening FMV sequence that would attract people's attention to the graphics. HAL worked with 3 separate graphic houses in Tokyo to make the opening sequence. On their official website, the developers posted screenshots and information highlighting and explaining the attention to physics and detail in the game, with references to changes from its predecessor. The game was in development for 13 months, and Sakurai called his lifestyle during this period destructive, with no holidays and short weekends. Unlike the experimental first Super Smash Bros., he felt great pressure to deliver a quality sequel, claiming it was the biggest project I had ever led up to that point. Despite the painful development cycle, Sakurai proudly called it the sharpest game in the series. It just felt really good to play, even compared to its successor, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. On the game's official Japanese website, the developers explain reasons for making particular characters playable and explain why some characters were not available as playable characters upon release. Initially, the development team wanted to replace Ness with Lucas, the main character of Mother 3, but retained Ness in consideration of delays. The game's creators later included Lucas in the game's sequel, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Video game developer Hideo Kojima originally requested the inclusion of Solid Snake to Sakurai, but the game was too far into development. As with Lucas, development time allowed for his inclusion in Brawl. Marth and Roy were initially intended to be playable exclusively in the Japanese version of Super Smash Bros. Melee. However, they received favorable attention during the game's North American localization, leading to the decision for the developers to include them in the Western version. Additionally, Sakurai stated that the development team had suggested characters from 4 other games to represent the Famicom or NES era until the developers decided that the Ice Climbers would be in the game. The developers have noted characters that have very similar moves to each other on the website. Such characters have been referred to as clones in the media. Nintendo presented the game at the Electronic Entertainment Expo event of 2001 as a playable demonstration. The next major exposition of the game came in August 2001 at Space World, when Nintendo displayed a playable demo that updated from the previous demo displayed at E3. Nintendo offered a playable tournament of the games for fans in which a GameCube and Super Smash Bros. Melee were prizes for the winner. Before the game's release, the Japanese official website included weekly updates, including screenshots and character profiles. Nintendo followed this trend with Super Smash Bros. Brawl, in which there were daily updates by the game's developer, Masahiro Sakurai. Japanese gaming magazine Famitsu reported that Nintendo advertised the game in between showings of the Pokémon the first movie across movie theaters in Japan. In January 2003, Super Smash Bros. Melee became part of the Player's Choice, a marketing label used by Nintendo to promote video games that have sold more than 1 million copies. In August 2005, Nintendo bundled the game with the Nintendo GameCube for $99.99. Music. Super Smash Bros. Melee features both new and rearranged music from many of Nintendo's popular gaming franchises. In 2002, Enterbrain released a soundtrack in Japan titled Dairantō Sumasshu Burazāzu DX Orchestra Concert. The same soundtrack was released in 2003 as Smashing Live as a bonus for subscribing to Nintendo Power magazine in North America, and also as a free gift in an issue of the British official Nintendo magazine. The soundtrack does not include music taken directly from the game, but features many live orchestral arrangements performed by the New Japan Philharmonic. The game contains a number of unlockable tracks that can be obtained after making certain in-game accomplishments. On the same website, the developers have posted discussions about the game's music and voice acting between Masahiro Sakurai and the game's composers. Character includes music from Hyrule Temple and Great Bay. Background music. B includes music from All-Star Intro, Trophies, How to Play, Menu 1, Ending Music, and the Final Destination. Background music. C includes music from Poké Floats, Pokémon Stadium, and Battle Theme. D includes music from Brinstar Depths and Brinstar. Background music. E includes music from the Mushroom Kingdom, Mushroom Kingdom 2, Flat Zone, Balloon Fight, Big Blue, Mac Rider, Yoshi's Island, Saria's Song, Super Mario Bros. 3, Icicle Mountain, and Princess Peach's Castle. Background music. F including Super Smash Bros. Melee, Super Mario Bros. 2, and various Game & Watch games, Balloon Fight, Mac Rider, Yoshi's Island, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Super Mario Bros. 3. G includes Fire Emblem theme, and Together, We Ride. H includes the underwater theme from Super Mario Bros. Reception. Super Smash Bros. Melee received critical acclaim from reviewers, most of whom credited Melee's expansion of gameplay features from Super Smash Bros. Focusing on the additional features. GameSpy commented that Melee really scores big in the "we've added tons of great extra stuff" department. Reviewers compared the game favorably to Super Smash Bros. IGN's Fran Mirabella 3 stated that it was in an entirely different league than the N64 version. GameSpot's Miguel Lopez praised the game for offering a more advanced classic mode compared to its predecessor, while detailing the adventure mode is really a hit-or-miss experience. Despite a mixed response to the single-player modes, many reviewers expressed the game's multiplayer mode as a strong component of the game. In their review of the game, GameSpy stated that you'll have a pretty hard time finding a more enjoyable multiplayer experience on any other console. Melee's visuals garnered a positive reaction. GameSpot lauded the game's character and background models, stating that the character models are pleasantly full-bodied, and the quality of their textures is amazing. IGN's Fran Mirabella 3 praised the game's use of physics, animation and graphics, although his colleague Matt Casamassina thought that some of the backgrounds lacked the visual polish and doubt upon the characters when giving a second opinion about the game. Critics praised the game's orchestrated soundtrack, while GameSpot's Greg Casavine commented that it all sounds brilliant. GameSpy praised the music for its nostalgic effect, with soundtracks ranging from multiple Nintendo series. Reviewers have welcomed the simplistic controls, but its hyper-responsiveness, with the characters easily dashing and precise movements being difficult to perform, was expressed as a serious flaw of the game by GameSpot. With a milder criticism of controls, Bryn Williams of GameSpy commented that movement and navigation seems slightly too sensitive. The basis of Melee's gameplay system is the battles between Nintendo characters, which has been suggested as being overly hectic, and Europe questioned whether the gameplay is too frantic, even though they enjoyed the variety of modes on offer. Similarly, Nintendo Spin's Clark Nielsen stated that Melee was too fast for its own good, and skill was more about just being able to wrap your head around what was happening as opposed to really getting into the combat. In regards to the pace of the game, Edge commented that it even made gameplay features such as blocking redundant, as the player is not given enough time to react to an attack. Despite the new features added to the game, some reviews criticized Melee for a lack of originality and for being too similar to its predecessor, Super Smash Bros. Caleb Hale from GameCritics.com noted that while it was every bit as good as its Nintendo 64 predecessor, he also felt the game doesn't expand much past that point. On a similar note, Edge stated that it's not evolution, it's reproduction, in reference to a perceived lack of innovation. The nostalgic nature of the game received a positive reaction, as well as the accompanying stages and items that allude to past Nintendo games. Gaming journalists have welcomed the roster of 25 Nintendo characters, as well as the trophy system, which Nintendo Spin labeled as a great addition to this game. Sales. When released in Japan, it became the fastest-selling GameCube game with 358,525 units sold in the week ending November 25, 2001. This success continued as the game sold more than 1 million units only 2 months after its release, making it the first GameCube title to reach 1 million copies. The game also sold well in North America, where it sold 250,000 copies in 9 days. In the United States, Super Smash Bros. Melee was the 19th best-selling video game in 2001 according to the NPD Group. and approximately 4.06 million units have been sold in the country as of December 27, 2007, with a software-to-hardware ratio of 3 to 4 at one time. Some have attributed the increasing sales of the Nintendo GameCube near the launch date to ~meɪleɪ. As of March 10, 2008, Super Smash Bros. Melee is the best-selling GameCube game, with more than 7 million copies sold worldwide. Awards and accolades. Several publications have acknowledged Super Smash Bros. Melee in competitions and awards. In their Best of 2001 awards, GameSpy chose it as Best Fighting GameCube Game, IGN's Reader Choice chose it as Game of the Year, Electronic Gaming Monthly chose it as Best Multiplayer and Best GameCube Game, and GameSpot chose it as the Best GameCube Game and 10th Best Game of the Year. GameFAQs placed it 6th in a poll of the 100 best games ever and was in the final four of the Best Game Ever contest. In the 200th issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly, the editors selected Melee as the 92nd most influential game in their Top 200 Games of Their Time list, defining Melee as billions of things to unlock, plus Yoshi pummeling Pikachu with a bat. In a similar competition, Nintendo Power named Super Smash Bros. Melee the 16th best game ever to appear on a Nintendo console, and selected it as the 2001 Game of the Year. IGN named it the third best GameCube game of all time in 2007 as a part of a feature reflecting on the GameCube's long lifespan, citing it as the grand stage of fighters, much like Mario Kart is for racing fans. GameSpy chose it as fourth in a similar list, citing that it had better graphics, better music, more characters, more gameplay modes, more secrets to discover, in comparison to its predecessor. The game was ranked 58th in official Nintendo magazine's 100 Greatest Nintendo Games Ever feature.